Section 2.4 discusses infinite limits. And what they mean by infinite limits is when you're approaching negative infinity or positive infinity of a graph or with a function, how do we represent those? And we should remember that the definition of a limit says, hey, the limit is the single number that something is approaching. And if I'm either approaching positive infinity or negative infinity, I'm not approaching a single number. So we need to remember that the limit does not exist. But in those cases, we will tell why the limit does not exist if we can give an answer. So for the function, f of x equals x minus 2 over x minus 1 squared times x minus 3, this is the graph of the function. It has vertical asymptotes at 1 and 3. It approaches positive infinity on both sides of this vertical asymptote. And at 3, it approaches negative infinity from the left and a positive infinity from the right. And we're going to write down the left-handed and right-handed limits for both of these asymptotes. So first, the limit as x approaches 1 from the left of f of x. As x approaches 1 from the left, we see that we are going towards positive infinity. Remember that the limit does not exist, and we're telling us why it does not exist, because it approaches positive infinity. Next is the limit as x approaches 1 from the right. As it approaches 1 from the right, it is also approaching a value of positive infinity. Let me put f of x there. The two-sided limit as x approaches 1. The two-sided limit exists if both one-sided limits exist and they are both the same. Okay? And in this case, they don't exist, but they don't exist because they're both approaching positive infinity, so we will write positive infinity for the limit as x approaches 1. For the second side of the function, where x approaches 3, we'll write down the three limits. The limit as x approaches 3 from the left of f of x, the limit as x approaches 3 from the right of f of x, and the limit as x approaches 3, the two-sided limit. And let's do the graphical analysis. As I approach 3 from the left, I get negative infinity. As I approach 3 from the right, I get positive infinity. And the two-sided limit, in order for the two-sided limit to exist, both one-sided limits must exist to be the same. However, they are not the same. I will not write plus or minus infinity here, because they're both the different infinities. We will write does not exist. So from a graph, the two-sided limit will exist if the graph approaches the vertical asymptote from the same side as you approach the number where the vertical asymptote is. And if you approach from different sides, the limit as you approach that asymptote will not exist.